Hello everyone, welcome to the Data Engineers Club. Sumit this side. So here we are again with yet another mock interview, and this is going to be one of the best interviews till now, I feel, because it is taken by Sudha Satwa, who is working in Google, has overall 16 years of total experience with 8 plus years in big data. So he is working as a strategic cloud engineer in Google, a company which we dream for, all of us dream for, right? Now, on the other side, we have Harsh Patil, who is having 5 years experience in big data and currently working in Walmart as a data engineer 3. So this interview is going to be super interesting, right? Sudha Satwa is in Google, Harsh Patil is in Walmart, and this interview will revolve around data structure and SQL. So we have limited the scope of interview towards data structure and SQL. So if you are someone who is looking to appear for data engineering interviews in top product based company, you should definitely watch this out. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now. Let's start with the interview.
Hi, Harsh. Thank you for joining in. Before we start the discussions, let's quickly introduce ourselves. So maybe I'll start with me. My name is Sudha Satwa. I'm working as an AI engineer in Google Cloud India. I joined Google around 2 years back. I joined as a data engineer, and then my recent role involves both data and AI related stuff. Today we will try and focus on at least one of the DSA questions, one of the SQL questions, and see how it goes. So maybe I'll hand it over to you for a quick introduction from your side as well.
Yeah. My name is Harsh. I have like around 5 years of experience working as a data engineer in various organizations such as LTI, and currently I'm working in Walmart as a data engineer 3. I've been working with Walmart for over 1 year, and coming to my work in Walmart, we've been developing a real-time data streaming platform where people can just upload the configuration in plain YAML file basically, and we will spit up a data streaming pipeline for them from that configuration. So it is like targeted towards like a non software development like people or in the industry.
Great. So what I'll do is let me share my screen, and you can take it from there if you can.
Yeah.
Can you please let me know when you're able to see?
Yeah, I'm able to see the screen.
Great. So let me start with the DSA question, and then we can look into a SQL question later on as well.
Sure.
Right? So let's go through the question first, and then we can see how we can solve it. So give me 1 minute. I'll just paste the question over here. So the first question that we can take today is something like this. So let's go through the question. So the question is, given an integer array of numbers sorted in, let's say, a non-decreasing order, we need to remove some duplicates in place without creating a new array or any new data structure, such that every unique element in the final output appears at most twice. Right?
Okay.
So the relative order also has to be kept the same. Okay. Now, let's say if there are k elements after removing the duplicates, right? Then the first k elements of the number should hold the result. So let's look at a few examples. Okay, so if my input is, let's say, this 111, 22, and 13, right? Then my output will only be of 5 numbers.
Okay.
Because there are 3 ones over here, one number can repeat itself at max for 2 times. So the final output is 1, 1.
Okay.
2 is the same as the first input, and then 3 remains as 3. Okay. So the explanation here is that our function should return k equal to 5, right? So the output is going to be 5. The output is not going to be this list. right? We are
Okay.
going to return the length of a final list, right? With the first 5 elements of the numbers being this, right?
Yeah.
Then let's say we have an example like this: 00, 4 times 1, 1 times 2, 2 times 3, right? In this case, what we are doing is, again, this one guy is the problem, right? So we are going to get rid of 2 ones from here, and then the final list will be 2 zeros, 2 ones, 1 2, and 2 threes, which means there are 7 numbers, right? So the function is going to return a value equal to 7, right?
Okay. So basically, we have to check if the number has repeated more than 2 times.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So if the number has actually repeated for more than 2 times, if it is less than two times, it's fine, right? But if it is more than 2 times, we just have to present it in the same order, but only up to 2 times.
Okay. Got it.
If you have any questions, please go.
Yeah, I understood the problem. I had only that one question where if it is supposed to be repeated only once or twice actually. So yeah. How would I do that? Okay, on a higher level, like this would be my approach basically. So I would implement something like a counter, or basically, so as this is like a sorted array, right? What I would do is I would implement a counter basically, probably say where I would count the occurrence of each element in that array using Python, and if any of the element is breaching that threshold, I will just create a new array out of all the keys and the number of that breaching threshold, which in suppose in second example is like 1 is breaching the threshold by 2, right? I will add 2 underscores over there. Same goes for your the first example as well. Let me know if that approach is correct or.
I think that's a good start. Let's go ahead.
So, should I share my screen, or shall I continue?
I think we can just start writing the answer because the screen is shared, so we all will be able to see.
So let's consider this function as, say, duplicates probably. And this is taking an okay, which is a list of parent, and it is giving out an integer, right? The k is the integer being returned. We don't have to return nums array as well, right? Or
no, only the length.
Only the length, right? So, and the length is basically how many elements are available. Okay, got it. So, so the first thing which I would do is the nums array I will create a counter basically. So I'll initialize it as an empty dictionary probably, and so the occurrence of this thing, right? Oh, there is a library actually from collections. So don't have to do it manually actually. So say rename this a bit. Rename it as a number counter. Then using a counter function, I'll directly pass it the nums array, so that it will give me this entire thing as a dictionary basically, key value pair.
Okay.
Now our I'm just taking the threshold as a integer right now. We can so that like it is more extensible. So someday, suppose if someone decides that threshold needs to be 3, so they don't have to go around the entire code changing it. I'm just taking threshold currently as 2. So for mo- better naming will be, but num comma count in num values items. Okay. So this will give us both number and its count basically. So probably what I will get is I'll take this as a 0 breaching count. Basically, in the breaching count, I will keep on adding for all the numbers who are breaching those thresholds. So suppose if I loop through this and suppose 1 is breaching it, so it will be like 2. Uh, the breaching count will be 2. Then after that, suppose if 2 is also breaching it by say 1, so I will just add it to that previous breaching count which was 2 and make it 3. So that way I'll loop through entire thing basically, so that this breaching count is increased, and finally I will return the length of nums minus the breaching count. That should be your key basically. So now if count greater than equal to greater than threshold, then um, and for last length num minus your breaching. I guess this should do it. This should give you the value.
So let's go through an example. Can take any one from the list.
Yeah, this also like want to add something. This num is actually not needed because it is not being used. So just to save uh, space, I will do something like this. So this num counter dot values will only give us the count, not the actual number, which we actually don't need over here. For example, now if we start with this one, right? Let's copy this quickly. Just walk you through. If I take this example, 111, 22, and 3. So what it will do is it will first create a counter out of it, which will give us like key will be 1 and value will be 3. For 2, it will be key will be 2 and value will also be 2. And for 3, it will be key 3 and value 1. So when we start looping through all the values, so first it will come to first value, like as the count for the number 1 is 3. It is breaching the threshold already, as we have set the threshold to 2. So it will just do count minus threshold and add it to the breaching count basically. So your breaching count will be 1. And else now as other numbers are not crossing the threshold, the breaching count will only be 1, and length of array is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. It will return 5 value, which is our expected output.
Yeah, I think this will work. So this is a good idea. Any problems you see with using the counter library in case the data input is high?
Uh, if the data is high, it might slow the overall process a bit down actually, because it will like pass through your numbers and all. But like we can also implement a custom function basically. Just it will be just a for loop basically, and initialize the dictionary, and just if that number is present as key, you just update it basically. So we can do it manual way as well. But as there was like a built-in function available already, we chose to use that.
That is actually a good approach, because
Yeah.
if we already have a built-in function that can help us achieve this, ideally that's the first thing we should do. But
Yeah.
we also need to keep in mind if there is any increase in the time complexity or in the space complexity in this case. But if you look at both
Yeah.
your approaches, one
Yeah.
that you did not write, which is the manual approach, and then the one
Hmm.
that you used, which is the counter
Hmm.
approach. In both
Hmm.
the cases, you have to go through the entire list once, which means
Yeah.
if there are n elements in the list in the input, then the order of n is going to be the
Yes.
complexity, which is the same for both.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it won't change a lot.
Yeah.
Brilliant. In which case, let's try another question. So let's see what can be. Great. I think we can use this as our next question. So you have an orders table
Hmm.
with order ID, product ID, order
Hmm.
date, and quantity. So these are the four columns which are there in the orders table.
Okay.
Just for the sake of this question, let's assume that you only have access to the orders table,
Hmm.
and there are no other tables where you have access to. So you cannot
Hmm.
join it with anything
Hmm.
else.
Hmm.
So keeping this in mind, the question is, can you analyze the monthly sales trend
Hmm.
for a specific product over
Hmm.
the past 1 year?
Okay. So when you say like sales trend, it is like for a particular month, how much quantity for that product was sold.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. For past year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm, for a few things, I will just write sort of pseudo
Yes.
acronyms basically, just for the reason that date functions have not worked very extensively, so I don't know the
Yes.
proper syntax of date function. But I will just write a pseudo function basically saying that okay, this is what it needs to do. So firstly, what I will do is for past 1 year, right? Uh, so first thing I will do is I'll take out the data for past 1 year basically, like now minus 1 year. Uh, okay. Uh, just a moment, I'll just change a bit of formatting actually. License this is too high. Yeah, this should. So suppose uh, oh, I'm currently putting a star. We'll come back to this later. From this table. Equal to order date less than greater than equal to, let's say there is a date function called as now minus say, or best way will so yeah, this will be replaced. Like this is not actual syntax, but just a pseudo acronym basically I'm using right now to identify that we are filtering all the orders in the order table which have order date greater than like last 1 year's date basically. So if it is like 23 March 2024, then it should be greater than like 23 March 2023. Mm,
So far,
Now,
so good.
yeah, from this, I will just give it the ID, product ID. We have to analyze only specific product, right? So we don't need order ID for that. Need order type. Okay, so this will give us all the values basically, uh, or what you can do it. Filter will work first, then this thing. Mm, I'm just thinking like, should I create a subquery for this, or should I continue with the count part over here itself?
Do you think using a subquery will be good in terms of, the speed?
Subquery speed won't be like a very good thing because obviously like subquery will execute first and then the outer query will execute. But I'm just thinking on the approach actually, like the code, because sometimes like if you have a derived column, right? Suppose say if you want to create a certain column based on certain conditions, and then you want to filter out of it, then you need to use a subquery or a CTE basically, where you create that column and then in the outer query or in the derived query you filter it out. So I'm just thinking on that part. Like, how would I do that? Uh, I'll quickly just think of something. Uh, Over past year, monthly sales, right? So we have to accumulate it based on your month, basically. Order group by month. Order date, we have to extract a month actually. So probably we will do is probably something like this. So we'll get to know like in for that particular month how much we've got. Uh, Here probably we can make this as a CTA. So something like that. Select again. Mention star. Back to the star thing. As we have order month and order quantity, right? So one of the approach for this would be that based on all order months, you group it. You take a sum for all the months, and like You get the IDs basically. Product for a product ID and order month, you sum up the quantity. So we don't need a where condition. So probably say group by product ID and month probably. Oh, yeah. I guess this should do it probably. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So in the initial part, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get all the orders, basically reduce my overall data set for just 1 year and extract like instead of having like a proper date in the month column, I'm just taking the specific month basically. Maybe we can make it like not just month, but say month year over here, month underscore year, something like that. And based on that, we are just like summing up so that we can get the sales for entire month basically.
Okay, okay. In this case, the first observation from my side is
Mm,
that when you are doing this sum of quantity or sales for
mm,
month, right,
mm,
from CTE, so
mm.
it is doing a grouping on both the product as well as the a month.
Yeah.
But if you look at the question,
Mm,
we are analyzing the monthly sales trends
mm,
for a specific product.
mm,
So, is there any other way we can group the information by the product,
mm.
keeping into account the
This will
month
be
or the
for
year information?
yeah, this will be for a specific product only, right? Like if you have like 10 products basically.
Yes. Hmm.
So basically for suppose say a product A for month Jan, this was the sales. For product B for suppose say other June month, it will be for that. Like it won't be specific as in like just one product, but if you have like multiple products, each will have like 12 rows getting you the sales basically because
Hmm.
it's grouped by product ID, right?
Good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Now, you said that we can add month and year as well. So, for
Yeah,
example, rather than extracting month over here in this line,
yeah,
we may
yeah.
want to extract month as well as year, and then we can
Hmm.
take both of them as a single column or different
We can create a
ones.
single column out of it. Basically, instead of having just say March or January or something like that, it could be
Hmm.
something like March 23, January 23,
Right.
Jan 24, something like that.
Okay. So
So it will be like
imagine you
one
have
string basically.
okay. So imagine you have two columns, one for
Mhm.
the month, one for the year. In that case,
Mhm.
is there anything you would like to change in this query?
Um, we have month and year.
Yes. If you have
Uh,
month and year. So let's say in this case you have extracted only month,
uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh,
But imagine you extracted the month as well as the year.
uh.
In that case, is there any change you feel should be there in this
So if we have
result?
suppose say two columns for month and year, right? We
Hmm.
can use the concat function to just make it as one string and this outer derived query can work as is, basically just changing the column name or probably something like that.
Will that change anything in the group by, or will that change the representation of the
No,
data?
nothing, because we are targeting over a specific 12 years period, right? A 1 year period basically. So we are creating that key in a way that it would be treated as one basically. So I have like if you have something like order month year basically, suppose say order month is one of the column, order year is another column, right? So what I would do is I would try and concat them both so that I can create a one column out of them. So that like this outer query does not change anything. Like we don't have to change anything in the outer query. Probably just the column name would be changed
Mhm.
for order.
Okay.
Thing like
Okay. Now let's say in this case, if we were to change the question a little bit. So let's say a follow-up question can be that
Mhm.
I want to analyze the monthly sales trends for a specific product, which we have
Mm.
already achieved. But now I want a rolling sum.
Mm.
Is there any one place you would like to make a change where
Sorry,
after?
didn't get the second part.
So I would like to calculate the monthly sales trends, obviously, but this
Huh.
time I want to do a rolling sum.
Rolling sum. Okay.
Yes, on the
Yeah.
product level. So is there
Yeah.
anything you would like to change in that case?
Yeah. I would just add a sum and probably say uh, a window function basically saying that okay, for this particular product ID window, do a rolling sum. I'll just write it down quickly.
Yeah.
150 by product 80. Probably, I'm just assuming this order month as a date column probably,
Yeah.
but uh, like it has to be date so that order by can work, or else we'll have to like manually sort it and then do a count on sorry, current row and preceding row. So probably row. It's current or current row? Current row, right? Rows between current row and yeah, this should do it. So basically, what it will do is it will partition your create a window of values for your particular product ID. Then I've just added this order by clause, but it is like not necessary. And I've uh, summed up all the rows between, suppose say current row and all the rows before that. So suppose if we are at say June and our uh, data starts at say March, so it will sum up all the values from June till March basically. So suppose 10, 20, 30, whatever we have, it will give a cumulative sum for us.
Hmm. I think that was a good way of doing this. I don't really think that we need the current row and unbounded sitting for all the cases. We could simply order by month, and that should also do, depending
Yeah.
if we have
For
already
cumulative
limited
sum,
the data.
like cumulative sum, we do need current
Yes.
row and bounded preceding. Basically, if we just have not added that rows between clause, basically, it would have just given a sum of all the values for all those 12 columns. So suppose say the sum of 12 rows is say 390 or 400. So it would have added 400 to all the 12 rows. So for cumulative sum, that rows between clause is kind of mandatory thing.
Yeah. Great. I think I can stop sharing now. I think this was quite a good, discussion. So I'll leave it up to you, Harsh, if you have any questions, anything you would like to know specifically.
Yeah, most of my questions are probably say related to roles and everything. So I guess maybe you can discuss those in a bit. Like, can you please explain how life of data engineering works in day to day in your case?
So depends on what kind of data that we are, or what kind of product we are going to be working on. But then typically what happens is it's most of the time is spent onto things which are non-interesting. Example given, let's say quality of data, which is extremely messy in the real world. Then there are scenarios related to debugging of the code. So you can divide your time 60-40. 60% will go into the technical work, but 40% will also go into the non-technical work. So we need to plan the day in a certain way that we have ample time for doing the non-tech things, which are as important as the technical things. Debugging, as I said, takes a very important role. Optimizing the way we are fetching or storing the data is also very important, because most of the times having the right solution is not what we are expecting. What is more, or what we can say is the right expectation is to have a solution that works within the boundary of cost as well. It's not only the time and space, complexity that we should only be bothered about. We should also be bothered about the choice of tools that we are selecting. Right? So for example, if I can reduce any of the elements in my previous answer from a list to a set, it reduces the time of execution, will reduce the CPU consumption, and it is going to reduce the cost. So in that way, we need to optimize things as well. So that's more like it, right? But that will also differ depending on what kind of environment or what kind of product you are working on.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I guess that's all from my end.
Great, then. Thank you so much, Harsh, for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.